Before we start the meeting, could I ask all present to please treat everyone in this chamber with respect and to refrain from name-calling or personal insults, which should not apply on any part in the proceeding tonight. I call upon Reverend Canon Daniel Burton for a reflection.
If you had to choose one word to express what Christmas means to you, what would your word be? I tried it out with my family yesterday, and I got family, laughter, chill out, jumpers, sprouts, mince pie, Bucks Fizz, and a few more. My first choice would be the name Jesus, but my second choice would be light. And perhaps this is a more inclusive word for our diverse and multicultural community. Christmas is the season of light. The light of the angels who sang to welcome the birth of Jesus, the light of the star that led the wise men to Bethlehem, the light in the eyes of Mary and Joseph, who first looked on the infant Christ, the light of Christ himself, whose birth kindles the hope that his light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has never overcome it. On Sunday, at the Mayor's Carol service in Oldham Parish Church, a Syrian refugee who was settled in Oldham read from the prophet Isaiah, "The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light." The people of Syria know about darkness. Let us pray that the light will now shine on them. Yesterday in church, children from Holy Cross Primary School celebrated their Christmas service by telling us about Christingle, another Christmas tradition involving light. At the end of the service, Muslim, Hindu and Christian children sang together, "This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine." You do not need to be a Christian to let your light shine. Are you willing to forget what you've done for other people and to remember what other people have done for you? To ignore what the world owes you and to think about what you owe the world? To put your rights in the background and your duties in the middle ground, and your chances to do a little more than your duty in the foreground? To recognise that the only good reason for your existence is not what you're going to get out of life, but what you're going to give to life. To close your book of complaints against the management of the universe and look around you for a place where you can sow a few seeds of happiness. If you can do those things, your light will shine, and not only Oldham, but the whole world will be a brighter place. In a few moments, we're going to listen to a remarkable young man who's done a great deal to spread light in Oldham and around the world. I wish you a very happy Christmas and a peaceful year ahead in 2025.
Thank you very much. A few weeks ago, thank you to Anita, I was introduced to this young man who became a true inspiration to me. I was inspired by his resilience, his positivity, his life experiences, and despite everything he experienced in life, how positive he was. But not only that he was positive for himself, but also, as you will hear shortly, his positivity meant that he wanted to change the world, he wanted to contribute. So I invited him to Parlour, and when we met, he expressed the wish that he would like to come and speak to us. Hence I took this opportunity, which I think as a resident-focused council, we should be starting our meetings with the public stories, listening to the residents and seeing what they got to say. So please join me to welcome Brooke. Brooke, mic is yours.
Good evening. My name is Brooke Newcomb, and I am a 15-year-old quadruple amputee. I was 10 when flu and sepsis caused me to lose my limbs, and it changed my vision on life forever. I have a heart condition brought around by a cardiac arrest from my time in intensive care as an inpatient in a coma at Royal Manchester Children's Hospital. I also had a form of meningitis, which blinded me in my left eye. My retina is now detached. Needless to say, I've endured quite the trauma. But I'm not broken. In fact, I'm stronger and more determined than ever. I'd like to emphasise on the dangers of sepsis. You know, a cough, a runny nose, a temperature, are all the signs of the common cold. And I never thought it'd be sepsis because it made the very defence systems of my body turn against me and practically ate my body from the inside out. I want to reach as big an audience as I can, telling them to look for the signs and make them think that should these symptoms ever surface, think, could it be sepsis? Now, what is sepsis then? Sepsis is a life-threatening over-response to an infection that can lead to organ failure and death. Early recognition and treatment is critical, but awareness is still so low. Did you know that every year 50,000 people in the UK die from sepsis? But you can help to change that. We can help to change that. Through further education and awareness. And throughout my journey, I've been a renal patient. Chronic kidney failure has been the impact of change in my perspective on life. And whilst I will be on medication for the rest of my life, I want to say thank you to the selfless, generous family of the kidney donor who saved my life, who changed my life, and who gave me my life back. I will forever be grateful and cherish their gift forever, remaining loyal to the pledge that my donor will live on within me. To prove my loyalty to this pledge, and with all your support, I'm certain that we can raise awareness on the importance of recognising sepsis, the dangers of sepsis, and the significance of organ donation, because in the end, organ donation saves lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brooke, and I hope that you will do really well and carry on spreading the positive message, but also be successful in your campaign. Well done. Thank you again. And I also hope that Council will have opportunity to hear the real-life stories more in this place. May I remind members and members of the public that the meeting will be streamed live on a webcast from Council's website and Oldham's Community Radio. The Council has a commitment to conduct its full Council business in an environment that is welcoming, secure, and safe for members, employees, and visitors. It's important that meetings are conducted in a safe and fair manner. All persons present at meetings should be treated with courtesy and respect. This includes members of the public, elected members, employees, and visitors. Behaviors, languages, or actions that impact public safety, cause disruption, or adjournment to the course of business at meetings are not acceptable. Members of the public are therefore asked to note the public meeting protocol, which is also available on the Council's website, and elected members are reminded to note the elected members protocol and the members code of conduct, which provides details of expected principle of behavior. Item 1, apologies. I have received apologies for absence from Councillor Hurley, Councillor Nefsi. Are there any other apologies? No? Okay. Minutes. The minutes of the meeting of the Council meeting held on 24th October and 6th November 2024 have been circulated with the agenda pack. Have been advised of an amendment to the minute 9 of the meeting held 6th November 2024. Insofar, the Councillor Ghaffur had asked a question about further costs, and the response from the leader did not accurately reflect in the minutes what was said. I understand that will be amended to reflect exactly what was said. Please can... Sorry, Councillor Ghaffur, do you want to...
Yeah, please, because I don't think it makes it quite clear on the email that I sent this morning. There was 4 questions that needed to be minuted, and it wasn't about additional costs, it was about extra costs that this council may face in the tune of £5 million. I think it's very important that we get that clear. Councillor Shah last meeting stated that there will be no undertaking of Muse's work in Oldham, but obviously because now it's public knowledge, I'll talk about it a little bit more later, but you know, we need to make sure that those are clearly minuted in these minutes.
So,
that we
may
can
I
discuss it.
suggest that we use the video recording and whatever
Please.
the response has been
With the-
given
with the full
is being
response
documented.
in that. Thank
so can council agree that minutes of the council meeting held on 24th October, sorry, don't know who was first, Councillor Hamdani?
Thank you. I'd like to move an amendment to the minutes on page 50, which is in the report on Places for Everyone, to add, after the recommendations were therefore lost, add, and the Council agreed to write to the Secretary of State as moved in the original motion. The original motion was to write to the Secretary of State, and anything removing this option in its entirety would be a breach of the Constitution, item 14.6.1d, which is to negate the effect of an original motion. The vote was taken under the clear understanding that if the report fell, the Council would write to the Secretary of State. Prior to the meeting, the Liberal Democrat group attempted to submit amendments to the text to make this explicit. Both were refused, but it was confirmed by the Borough Solicitor that if the report fell, then the Council would write to the Secretary of State, and this should be reflected in the minutes. Thank you.
Right, I think I need a constitutional expert on this, Borough Solicitor, would you like to respond to that? Did you say page 50? Yeah?
With regards to the minutes, it's the end of the minutes on the report on Places for Everyone, which I believe is page 50 of our document. The reference to the Constitution is 14.6.1d.
I'll take a few more questions while you're looking for the answer. Councillor Sykes?
Mine's on the same matter, Mr Mayor, of which so I'll second Councillor Al-Dami's proposal. And I think it's important. Everybody who was in that debate, I think, was very clear what we were voting for. There were some very passionate speeches on that side of the chamber, urging us not to write, and some passionate speeches on this side, urging us to write. And then we had a vote. And then we suddenly decided we don't have to write. If that was the case, and it was very clear, and I suggest anybody watches the video back, what we all thought we were debating, I don't understand why somebody didn't give us some advice and say, well, actually, councillors, that's not what you're debating. But we didn't. There was silence. The original motion that I tabled, that Councillor Woodvine seconded, said we would write. The amendment to that, if I'm remembering correctly, removed it, so one could argue it negated part of it, but it was allowed, whereas I didn't think we allowed things that negated it. But anyway, we had the report, and if I remember right, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot, Mr Mayor, but at the rising of the leadership, your briefing, I did ask the legal officer and yourself, well, what happens then, having had confirmed in writing that there isn't anything we could try to do to make it clearer. He said, well, you'll just have to vote for it, the proposition will fall, and then we'll write. And that was part of the conversation we had in your chamber when there was just me, you, and the legal officer there at the end. You're looking at me as if your memory might be different than mine. I can assure you, Mr Mayor, and I wouldn't say it, and I'm not making it up. So I just think sometimes these things need to be put, not done behind closed doors, need to be done in open. That not once but twice we tried to amend that report, and that was ruled out of order. But the amendment that negated the writing, if indeed it did, was allowed. So there's a bit of inconsistency here, but I'm very clear what council thought it was doing at the last meeting, and it was a very close vote. Tempers were quite heated, but that's what we're doing, and we think the minutes should reflect that, Mr Mayor.
I got quite a few speakers. So I got Councillor Byrne.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This motion, as far as I'm concerned, we discussed at our previous meeting. It was quite simply a motion which was accepted as correct, was debated and voted upon. The vote was won unamended. Quite simple, and now to have jiggery-pokery red tape speak is unacceptable. We may be said to be the most deprived town in the region. We are not the most stupid. Never forget its history. Oldham has long been a symbol of resilience, of standing up against injustice and fighting for fairness and democracy. From the town's role in resisting the American slave trade in the 19th century to the discomfort of many of our workers in the cotton mills. It's pivotal participation in the suffragette movement, and not to mention all those of our area who walked to Peterloo in August 1819 in support of the right to vote, freedom and oppression from justice. Oldham has always been...
Councillor Byrne, I would love to hear your speech, but
I've only got that bit.
this is not related to minutes, please.
What I'm saying is, I think that what we did was right. We understood what was right. That was what, that to repeat Councillor Sykes, and I really do feel that the whole thing ought to be done again, because we should have been notified at the time.
Let me get a few speakers and then we'll ask our solicitor to respond. It will be helpful if you just repeating what has already been said. Please keep it briefly, because we do need to conduct the business of the council. Councillor Gafoor?
I'm going to say something very similar, and I'm going to try and take a brief. I had a very long speech prepared, but obviously I don't think everybody wants to hear it. But clarity...
Plenty of opportunities.
Well,
yes,
absolutely, no problem. Already. Clarity in the rules of the council votes is not just a procedural matter. It's a backbone of democracy. Without clear rules, we risk creating confusion, misunderstanding and mistrust, opening the door for political convenience to override the democratic will of the people. And the democratic will of this council at the last November the 6th meeting was that we actually write to the Secretary of State and get out of PFE. Now, I'm quite disgusted, so I'm going to go right to the end here now, so I've missed all the middle parts out for your convenience. But I'm disgusted. Well, but the council's convenience. But I'm quite disgusted by the decision not to act on the vote's outcome. And I urge all and every single one of us to reflect on what that means for this council. Does that mean if we vote for something and then we go back on it, we need to clarify the rules and what the rules are. We need clarity, transparency and integrity in our decision-making. Democracy demands no less. Thank you.
Councillor Harkness?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. We all know what we were voting for. We all know what we were debating in that meeting. Now, the reason why the letter hasn't been written, well, we don't actually...
Sorry, we're just talking about the minutes, sorry. I can't
yeah,
just
well, it
take
is
the
on the
long
minutes,
speeches.
49 to 50. But
No,
but this is important because the reason why the action hasn't been taken is, well, we don't actually officially know that because no one bothered telling us. But from what we've heard in the press, it seems to be around a double negative, right? Well, we know that, so in maths, a double negative, a negative and negative makes a positive. In logic theory, a not reverts back to the original true statement. And double negative, so it's quite clear, if you have a double negative, that just gets rid of what happened and it reverts back to the original. So we know that. We know what we voted for. It was quite clear, right? So if that's not the case, then that suggests then, therefore, the original amendment which caused it to kick the can down the road originally sort of substantively changed the original motion, so that should not have been accepted. And if you're saying, well, that's actually, no, that was fine, then the amendments we wanted to put in at the time, again, should have been accepted. So all those ways down the line, we've tried our best to make it very clear in this, because, you know, if you're saying there was some ambiguity in that report, well, we tried making that very clear, and you said, oh, no, we don't need to put in any amendments, because it's very clear.
I think you made your point very valid.
So but this is about democracy now.
I'm going to ask Labour members to please...
The majority of councillors in this chamber voted a certain way, and the leadership are trying to stop that. They might not like the answer.
Would you please
they might
take a
not
seat,
like
please?
what the council chamber decided.
Would you please
but
take
that's
a seat,
what was
please?
decided.
Okay. Can you keep it, please, brief, all of them? Councillor Taylor first, and then Councillor Shah.
Sorry, go on. Thank you, Mr Mayor. So, I mean, some grand words, I have to say, but let us take us back to the actual meeting and have a little bit of clarity around this. So, what we actually voted upon was a report that had 4 substantive points. The first one was to reflect upon information provided in workshop sessions. The second, to note officer recommendations to not write to the Secretary of State to request revocation of the PFE. to retain places for everyone and to continue to prepare an Oldham plan as the Part 2 plan for Oldham under the PFE. That is really very clear. The point that I would make is that actually, on both sides of the chamber, we were aware what that meant. People have been aware for a number of weeks. So the option was for you to bring a motion forward if you believe that you still wanted to seek revocation. Alternatively, you tried to bring forward 2 amendments, but the only amendment that you needed to bring was an amendment reverting us back to the original motion. This has become a procedural issue, but it's become a procedural issue because people clearly don't seem to understand the Constitution. It's not complicated, it's not difficult.
Councillor Taylor, I'm going to ask Boris Lister in a minute to explain
it's very clear,
Constitution.
Mr. Mayor, and actually there is an action that they can take if they want to seek revocation, and they just need to bring a motion forward. And this is just, again, playing games when they don't need to. Misinformation.
Councillor Shah. Councillor Shah, please, can I have silence, please?
So just briefly to provide clarity, I think if you want to talk about examples of people not liking the result of something, then you just have to listen to the speeches that we've just had before Councillor Taylor's. It's not the administration's fault that people don't know what they're doing in this chamber. It's because they're so caught up in the pettiness of it all that they lose sight of the importance. So no involvement in this, personally for me whatsoever. But what I will do to clarify this is that explain to members of the opposition, because I'm quite magnanimous like that, it's all my goodwill. So the report before Council last month didn't actually mandate officers at all to write to the Deputy Prime Minister to request revocation of the PFE. So they didn't do that because that's not what was asked for. Rejecting the recommendations of that report isn't as simple, really, Mr. Mayor, as approving mystery recommendations that councillors wanted it to be. So it's not my fault if opposition councillors didn't know what they were voting for. But if they want to request that, then all they need to do is bring another motion forward to council asking for that. It's as simple as that.
Thank you, Councillor Shah. Councillor Quigg.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Oh, no, Mr. Mayor. After that diatribe, I mean, only one can add to that. I'll refer to pages 49, 50 and 48, 49 and 50 on this. I have to say that I attempted in my point of order, if you remember, Mr. Mayor, the close of the meeting, in regards to the wording and the legality of the motion of the acting borough solicitor to clarify whether this was correct. And the answer forthcoming was no comment. There was no comment made. So, given that, we had in the report titled a motion. It was titled a motion, not necessarily a recommendation, which would have been a list. The refusal to admit amendments to that is unconstitutional. You've had an original motion which was presented by Councillor Sykes, presented and seconded by Councillor Woodvine, which was then amended by Councillor Hince and Councillor Navesy, I think it was, top of my head. That then carried unanimously. It said it was to ask officers to produce a report, which it did, to inform a decision. Inform. It didn't say not to write. That was not what was clear. It's to inform a decision. So in informing a decision does not mean not to write. And then on the basis of that, that then report, as titled as a motion, amended the original amended motion, which therefore, Mr. Bogatoff, it negates everything. You've made a word soup of it all. At the end of the day, this side of the chamber, we must be all wrong then, the public must be all wrong, that we knew what we were voting for. Now, the dictator at the front row can say what she wants, but the point at the end of the day, this council voted, it was carried, and the words of former Councillor Fielding, which was, it isn't illegal to write a letter, but we'll just ignore it anyway, tells everything as to the Labour Party's thinking on this. Because they don't want to respect the democratic vote and the democratic will of this chamber. It's a disgrace.
Thank you, please. Councillor Hince, the last one, and then I will ask Boris Lister to explain, please.
Well, I'll keep it relevant. I think that's the main thing. Obviously, I brought the amendment to the motion which requested the report, and I do not regret that because I think all councillors needed to have the officers' viewpoints, including stakeholders. Now, I myself voted to reject that report, and I believed we would be bringing another motion to ask for PFE removal. Now, the thing I'm getting a bit concerned with, and I think the members of the public will, this is becoming a charade. Let's get back to the key principle. Do we want to stay in PFE or do we want to come out? It's that simple. So I would ask members, rather than stop turning it into a
Please allow member to speak, please. Consecrate, please.
Where's yours?
No.
Can I speak?
Consecrate.
Can I speak?
No, please stop.
speak?
No, Councillor Haynes.
We're 3 minutes in and already you're on.
Please speak to me. Consecrate,
Yes,
please.
sorry, just getting distracted by some... Okay, so it's about PFE. Do we want to be in, do we want to be out? Right, so weeks ago, before this council, before the motions were submitted, people were informed the nature of the motion, that it wasn't to write. So there was nothing stopping any of us. There was nothing stopping anyone pick the phone up. Unfortunately, we made the wrong assumption that Councillor Sykes, who has championed this issue from day one, would submit a motion. He's not contacted us, no communication. We made that error. Now, I ask Councillor Sykes and his coalition to simply just submit another motion, and we will support it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
That's it. Please, can I have a silence? Please, can I have a silence, please? Please, can I have a silence, please? Please, can I have a silence, please? Please, can I have a silence? Can I have a silence, please? Please, can I have a silence? Let me conduct the business, please. So I'll ask Borough Solicitor to explain. I do not want any interruption while he's trying to explain things, please.
Hi, thanks for that. Yeah, at no point have we been asked to write to the Secretary of State as of yet. We were asked to vote in relation to the 4 points which Councillor Taylor has outlined. And it clearly says, it's underlined and it's in bold, not to write to the Secretary of State and to retain the places for everyone. So that was what was voted upon. That was voted down. The next stage is to write a letter to the Secretary of State as and when we have a motion to decide that. So it's clear that the will of the people here is to vote at some point. So let's put it to bring a motion and then we'll vote on it. That's as simple as that.
Right, thank you very much. I think it's very clear. Please do bring a motion, and if anyone is reluctant...
Mr Mayor, point of order on this, point of order. I have to say, that is an absolutely shocking decision from the acting Borough Solicitor, and I have to say, I made, in our motion, which was denied by the acting Borough Solicitor, a clarification on what should have been presented in that motion. The acting Borough Solicitor, and I have it in black and white, a motion is not intended to create a political circus. If you wish to raise a formal complaint on the matter of officer council regarding behaviours and ability, your ability to do that, a motion at full council is not a suitable forum to do that. This motion is not accepted on the basis that it's out of order, irregular and improper.
That's a continuation.
And it's simply being used to criticise myself and the Mayor and sensibly leave the council. If you are not satisfied with the advice given at a previous meeting,
was never an officer
or generally it can be a sit-down councillor
Can I ask both of members to please take a
seat?
seat? Please take a seat, both of members. Do you want to respond to that? And I'm going to close this on this.
Yeah. If it assists Councillor Quigg, your motion was simply rejected.
What time did you respond to me? What time did you respond?
Sorry, please, can
Mr.
I ask
Mayor,
Councillor
I'm
Quigg? Can
not
I ask you
allowed.
to please hold your hand? Please,
Mr.
can I ask
Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Quigg, just 1 second, please, Councillor Shah. Do not speak to the officers like this. That's no. Councillor Quigg, I'm asking you to not speak to the officers like this. They have not got the right to speak to you like this. Please do not speak to them like this. I'm asking you respect. We're having a democratic debate here. We're having a democratic debate, and on every occasion when you raise the question, I seek clarification on your behalf. I supported you, but I would not allow you to have this anger outburst on officers at here. They are not allowed to speak. Take it among yourself, administration and opposition. Don't throw them under the bus. If you have a problem with officer, take it to the chief executive. Let me finish, please. You are not allowing me to finish, Councillor Quigg. If chief executive does not respond, bring it here. No, please, let me finish, please. Honestly, I'm losing my temper and patience as well, Councillor Quigg. If you have an issue with officer, take it to the right channels. If officers don't respond, of course, bring it here. There's no issue at all. But I think it will be unfair to put people on the spot who can't respond. Do you want to respond to any of these questions?
Yes, Chair. In relation to the time frame, you had a response within an hour.
Sorry, can I ask?
You sent the motion at 10:48 a.m. in the morning. You had a response. If it assists Councillor Quigg, I did explain in the email the motion was just simply a really poor motion.
That's your opinion. That
Okay,
isn't a
so
fact.
are we
That's
approving?
your opinion.
Please take a seat, please. Okay, that's fine. No? Okay, so... Okay, please, can I... Councillor Quigg, please.
We all heard what he said.
Do you want to continue with this business of the council, or do we need to cancel this council meeting? No, it's honestly nothing to do with... I cannot, guys, carry on. Can you please stay quiet? Right, guys, I will have to adjourn the meeting, please.
He needs removing. Yeah.
That's it.
Please take a seat. I hope you had a reasonable break. We just met all the group leaders inside, and I'm just going to summarize what is being asked. So, based on what happened before we adjourned the meeting, I'm requesting, and stay with me, let me please complete it. I'm requesting Councillor Quick to apologize, Councillor Woodvine to apologize, and Councillor Hinz to apologize for the behavior. So Councillor Woodvine and Councillor Quick to apologize to, Councillor Quick to apologize to Borough Solicitor, Councillor Woodvine to apologize to Councillor Hinz, and Councillor Hinz to apologize to all of us for his outburst.
I'd like to formally apologise. Thank you.
Councillor Quick, Councillor Woodvine, sir, would you like to apologize? No. Honestly, Councillor Quick, it can be much easier than that. Why you can't get in? Well, would members please give a wave? Come on, Councillor Quick. Come on, Councillor Quick. Here we go, see? So would you like to, Councillor Woodvine, apologize? No. Councillor Quick, would you like to apologize?
Can you repeat that, Mr. Mayor, sorry?
Would you like to apologize?
For
your behaviour towards Borough Solicitor?
Yeah, sure. I'll apologise to Mr. Entwistle.
Thank you. Mr. Entwistle, sorry. Mr. Bogatev, did you mean, sorry?
Well, what position is Mr. Bogatev? I thought I was...
Come on. So you don't want to apologise?
Is that no?
No. Councillor Quick, please.
So you're asking me to apologise to Mr. Bogatev, the acting borough solicitor, for
your behaviours toward him.
Specifically,
which everyone agrees. Sorry, I'm not going to go into all that again. Sorry.
You
know what we asked for, so you can say yes or no.
So
I'm just requesting you.
No, I'm asking politely.
For your aggressive behaviour.
Aggressive behaviour.
Yeah.
Okay, so being passionate is now considered aggressive.
Well, I'm really sorry. I can't get into that debate now, consequently.
I'm not debating. I'm just asking a question.
I'm mindful that I have personal relationship with you as well, which I don't want to spoil, but I do got to do job as well. So I take it as no.
Will Mr. Bogatev apologise for his behaviour in relation to that, or should we just take this to a standards committee meeting?
Of course, you can follow any procedure, but I think the question is, do you want to or not?
I'll apologise once the standards committee meeting's been initiated, which is what per the Constitution.
Take it that as a no, sorry.
I didn't say yes or no, though. That's a difference. There's a point of law here. Mr. Bogatev, I'm more than happy to. If you want to clarify that, I'm asking that this goes to a standards committee meeting.
Mayor has not been respected.
Mr. Mayor, if I can just request that we move, if we are not going to respect your position as mayor and the chair of this meeting, if we're not going to respect our officers who work hard day and night, who had no absolutely other business apart from stating the Constitution and what the legal Constitution is, and if we're going to allow abuse in this chamber, then I'm going to request, and on the basis that two members who have behaved really badly are refusing to apologise, I'm going to request that we adjourn this meeting. We can't allow this behaviour.
I'm not taking your request for a minute because we had a discussion in the group leaders meeting, which was different than what you are saying. So would you group leaders would like to say anything on this issue before I take your motion?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did talk about several incidents that have happened in this chamber. Personal attacks, aggressive behaviour is not acceptable to all members in this chamber, and certainly not to the people of Oldham. So I, as the group leader of the Conservative group, it is two of my members have, in my opinion, overstepped the mark tonight, and I would move a motion that they accept, they apologise for their behaviour earlier on. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mr Mayor, point of order under the Constitution, which part are you referring to?
Sorry, well...
No, so specifically, which part of the Constitution are you referring to in this debate? Councillor Sheldon, who's no longer a Conservative Party member, by the way, hasn't referred to any part of the Constitution.
Any other group members wish to speak?
I just want to support Councillor Graham Sheldon. I think what he's done today is admirable, and actually it respects the chamber. There's names around us all across this chamber for people who served this chamber and the people of this borough for years before us, and I think shame on all of us in this chamber who have allowed this behaviour to continue and grow, and shame on all of us who stand here and proclaim to represent the people of this borough and in their best interest when we behave in a conduct like this to people that we employ. It's absolutely absurd. I have huge empathy and huge respect for Councillor Graham Sheldon's moving of his request tonight.
Councillor Hoban, did you indicate?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I agree with Councillor Shah. Councillor Sheldon's been very respectful in the chambers when we went out to speak, and I think he's doing a very good job of trying to get his members to behave. I do think it's such a shame, after such an inspiring speech that we had, that a couple of members in this chamber have resorted to this tonight, and I think it's time that we made a precedent and did something about it, and I fully support Councillor Sheldon.
Councillor Paul?
Sorry, yeah, I'd like to second that and support Councillor Sheldon's motion.
Councillor Sykes?
Sorry, Mr Mayor, I'm just a little confused. I thought what we agreed is Councillor Sheldon was going to move that if they wouldn't apologise, they'd be asked to leave the chamber and then we'll get on with the business. I thought that's what we agreed, hence why I was looking a bit puzzled when you invited me to speak earlier, and that is what we agreed.
Mr Mayor, if I can come in with...
No, I don't want to remove any member from the chamber, sorry. It's a democratic right for the members. However, I suppose what we're saying here, are we asking these two members to apologise? That's basically what's being asked. If they already said no, not apologising, so in that case, you can move the motion.
In that case, if they are going to continue to be disrespectful to this chamber, to you as chair of this meeting and to our officers, then I move to adjourn this meeting. I don't think we should go ahead and condone their behaviour, or at least embolden it. It's shameful.
Seconds, do you want to second or speak or what?
Yes, I've come on. I don't mind being criticised as being a councillor, and I've had my fair share of abuse both within the chamber and outside. But I will not be called a Nazi by anyone. I find that deeply offensive. To parry me with a group of people who were responsible for the murder of 9 million people is totally disrespectful. And unless I get an apology for that from the councillor behind me, who said it twice, it's now a police matter, I might add, I will be walking out of the chamber and I will be speaking to the press. Thank you.
Anyone wants to second the agenda of the council? Just second it. All those in the favour of adjourning the meeting? Okay. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.